Hey, how y'all doing tonight? Hey, Sylvester, he said he is right on time. Thank you all for joining in tonight. I am Taquila Coleman, best-selling author, certified life coach, and founder of GodOrdainedMarriages.com. I just wanted to jump on here tonight, take any of your questions. If you have any questions, you just go ahead, post them in the comment section. Hey, Bree, thanks for joining us tonight. But I wanted to jump on here, tonight and just answer whatever question you may have. For some of you, you have already heard the good news. My sixth book, God Ordained Marriages. Look at this. Isn't it beautiful? Can you see this? My sixth book just released today, was up for pre-order. Today, I'm so excited. And so, like I said, I wanted to just jump on here, take your questions, talk a little bit about the book, see how everyone is doing today. So let's see who's on here. We got Sylvester, Bree, Shelly, Forever, Kelsey, Aiden, Daughter of the Almighty God, Eileen. Thank you all for joining. Thank you. Yeah. So, like I said, I don't have anything to talk about, y'all. Okay, I just came on here. This is Q&A. Hey, Royalty. Hey, Brittany. I just wanted to come on here. If you all have any questions, feel free. Go ahead and use this time to post your questions in the comment section. Charlie, like, right on time. Alicia. Okay, cool. Janae. Or Janae. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right. But yeah, so look, okay, so I'm gonna talk about the book, okay, while y'all get your questions posted in the comment section. Hey, LaShawn, I did not know that was your YouTube name, His Vision, His Revelation Ministry. Okay, Charlie, I see what you're saying. Yeah, hey, LaShawn, thank you all for joining tonight. But yeah, so my sixth book, it just is up for pre-order today. Now, let me say this. It is also available over on Amazon for pre-order. It's only the ebook, the Kindle version is available over on Amazon for pre-order. So if you go over to Amazon, you can either type in my name or you can type in the name of the book, God Ordained Marriage, and it'll come up. And if you want to pre-order the Kindle version, you could do that over on Amazon. But if you want a paperback, then you see the link right there scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Go to www.godordainedmarriages.com/book. Or when you get to the website, just click on the book tab and you can pre-order the paperback from there. But yes, God has been speaking to me about writing this book. I actually started writing the book in June. The book was really finished in June, but God told me to wait. He was like, wait a minute, because he still had more he wanted to download to me. And so I'm happy I waited. And so I'm excited. I'll share the table of contents. So some of the things that you will read about in the book, chapter 1 is all about what is a God ordained marriage. Also in chapter 1, I'm also helping you to understand the difference between your God ordained spouse and a counterfeit. I know this is I get asked this question a lot. How do I know the difference between a counterfeit and a God ordained spouse? So I am talking about it inside of the book. Chapter 2 is all about understanding prayer, and really how to get your prayers answered, a lot faster by God, and really break it down. How do you really move this God ordained love story? I'm talking about it in chapter 2. And chapter 3 is all about spiritual warfare. For those of you who do not already know, let me say this. today inside of our Facebook group, we got a Facebook group over on Facebook, but today we started our book club, okay? And I shared, one of the things out of the book we're reading for the month of October. I was talking about the weapons, spiritual weapons, okay? Because that's very important for us to know, okay? While you are going through this, while you are standing for your God ordained love story, you need to know what weapons do you have to defeat the enemy. And so the book we are reading, I pulled out, I think in the book they share about 12 weapons. So we talked about that today inside of our Facebook community for our book club today. I see some more of you all jumped on. Hey, Oscar, Tina, Alicia, Jay, Khadija, thank you all. Thank you all for joining us tonight. So I'm just going over the book. If you have a question, post them in the comment section, because I just wanted this live to just be a Q&A. I wanted to come on here, answer your questions, and connect with everyone. But yeah, so chapter 3 is all about spiritual warfare. Chapter 4, building on a solid foundation. When you really understand, all of this stuff, the prodigal and counterfeits, when you really understand that these things is not going to last forever, and really God wants us to partner with God and knocking down this current foundation, with the prodigals, with the counterfeit, all of these things. When you understand that God wants us, knock this stuff down and rebuild this God ordained marriage on a new foundation, listen, it's a game changer. Chapter 5 is all about divine separation. Chapter 6 is about your God ordained prodigal spouse. So that's where hey Raquel, thank you. Hey Sherry, chapter 6 is where I'm helping you to discern, if you are dealing with a prodigal spouse, or, or if he just, this is just your God ordained spouse, okay? Chapter 7 is about holding your prodigal spouse accountable. This is one of the things that's needed in this God ordained love story. We need accountability, we need standards, and we need boundaries. And that chapter, I'm talking about each one of these things. Chapter 8 is about your field of preparation, because we have work to do, okay? So we're going to talk about that. Chapter 9 is all about healing your heart. So for some of you, you have been rejected by your God ordained spouse. You're still hurting, and you don't know how to heal. So in chapter 9, I'm taking you through the healing process. I'm talking about rejection. We also talking about shame. And I believe I also put in there, how do you overcome the insecurity as well? And then after that, we go into prayer points to pray for your God ordained spouse. And that is it. So I'm excited. Isn't it beautiful? It's so cute. It is so cute. Let me see. I just love this. So cute. I'm excited. Okay. So who have questions? Who have questions? Let's see. Okay. Okay. So what if we receive? Let me pull your comment up. What if we receive a word and get confirmation via a specific sign, but the person not only disappear and ends up with someone else and cut off contact? Yeah, well, if you said you received a word, okay, and you got confirmation, so you received the word and you're getting confirmation. And really, what I really want you to look for is, if God speaks to you in your dream, I want you to take a look at what are the dreams God has given me, and if he's giving you dreams, confirming that this is your God ordained spouse, and he's giving you future dreams, then all the stuff that you're seeing now, how your spouse is disappearing and they with someone else and they cut off all contact, these are the things that God wants you to go ahead and pray against. Remember, I was talking about in the book, chapter 4 is all about building on a solid foundation. So, these are the things God wants you to knock down. Okay. This is the foundation your prodigal has built. So God is like, he's trying to get your attention so that you can pray against, that spirit that loves to disappear, that spirit that want to block off and cut off our contact with you. Pray against these spirits. Okay. pray against the counterfeits, right? And begin to rebuild. It's like you turning the love story around. Rebuild this love story on a new foundation. So it doesn't matter, that this person, your spouse, is acting this way. It doesn't matter, because soon as you pray, God is going to your prayers invite God into this love story. So as soon as you start praying and be very strategic in your prayers, God is going to come in here. He's going to turn this love story all the way around. So it doesn't matter. Let's see. Okay, so girl, the devil always want to confuse me with that. So many have a product, but not many have the testimony from resurrection, or maybe I am blind. Right. I say this all the time. There's people on YouTube that's telling you all just move on, God rewriting your love story. They just haven't gotten this far in the process. Okay. My God has woken my spouse up. Okay. He's no longer a prodigal. Okay. So, God can change prodigal. He can restore them, change them. He can do it. You just gotta be patient with God and allow God to take you through this process. Okay, let's see. Why does it seem like we are the only ones who are being corrected? No, it seemed like that. Your prodigal is they also going to be corrected as well. But it seemed like that because depending on, like, if you're in a divine separation and you don't get to see what's going on or how God is dealing with your prodigal spouse, then yes, it can seem like we are the only ones being corrected. We're the only ones doing all the work, and they just living their best life. But that's not it. Okay. Even while they out there partying with the counterfeits, God is correcting them. God is sending people their way who is, they might be holding them accountable, things of that nature. But it seems like we're the only ones who are being corrected because, God, he has high standards for his believing spouses. Okay. You got to take a look at your life, right? Take a look at your life and the things you've been through and have overcome, right? God already know. He already knew. He said he or she can take this. My daughter, my son can handle this, right? You already know this because of the things you went through in your past. So, it can feel like God, why I gotta keep going through this? But God is like, you got this. You already know how to overcome this. Come on, right? And it feels like we're going through so much because I'm telling you, it's pulling out that anointing. It's birthing new gifts. Like when you're going through things, it just it's the anointing that's coming out of you. You can't see it right now because you're in it, but I'm telling you, wait until about 3 to 6 more months. You're going to be like a whole new different person. But God is correcting prodigals. Okay, he's correcting them. They're going through his wrath. They're going through God's judgment. Okay, Bree said, I think currently in chapter 9 of my life. I can't wait to get your book. I have a dream for you later. Okay, cool. And let me say this, for those of you who have already sent in your dreams via the website, I'm gonna get to you all, okay? I've been over here just working like every single day. Tomorrow would be the only day that I have off this week, okay? Because I'm over here, I gotta pray over your prayer requests. Then I have my one-on-one coaching clients during the week, and then I have the kids. I'm gonna get to your dreams. So if you set them in, don't worry. Are we reading this next month? Oh, the book, my book. Not my book next month. No, not yet. I'm gonna pick a month where we can read my book next month. Because I have a list, already mapped out of what I want us to read for each month. Oh, wait a minute. Catherine said, I feel like I've done everything. What now? Let me tell you something, okay? Soon as you feel like you're done, God is like, okay, here's your next assignment. Here's your next instruction. Hey, sis, congratulations on a new book. I know it's going to be good. That's why I hurry up to order it. I know we are going to resonate differently, but each personal experience will be a love story. Yes. Thank you to Radiant Sun for supporting the book. I appreciate you. I really do appreciate you. I appreciate everyone who ordered the book. I had over 30, 40 dreams within the past year about my kingdom spouse. Wow. God led me to get a job where I met him and work in the same firm. And I have a strict work relationship. Wonder if he is my kingdom spouse. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So if God has given you over 30, 40 dreams about this one particular person, yeah. Uh-huh. Write your dreams down, because sometimes when God gives us a dream, he's not always done talking, but write them down and see, go back to him and see, like, what is the bigger picture? What is God trying to communicate to me? But it really does sound like that is your spouse. Okay, there we go. I think that's normal. Charlie said, I done it all: pruning, waiting, praying, fasting. I'm so happy. In my divine separation, I feel like I don't care to reunite with him. Is that normal? It could be normal, because it could really mean it could mean that you're getting to a place where you're just like, okay, whatever, it is what it is. Right? That's the attitude I sometimes take with this love story. I'd be like, okay, whatever. My attitude with God is, as long as you continue to provide for me and my children, you take care of our needs, you keep us protected, I'm good. Okay, I'm not in no hurry to get married. I'm not in no hurry, for anything. I'm just like, keep us good. So that can be, that could be, I think it's okay, for you to feel that way. I think it's normal. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, we all do desire marriage and to be with our spouses, but when we move to that space, it's like, I don't even care. I believe that's what, and I do believe this. I do believe God want us to be in that space where we just like, hey, I'm good. I'm not really focused on it as much. I'm over here just living my life in my purpose. I'm growing and developing. That's the mindset I believe God wants us in. I keep having dreams about a little boy. I had one dream about being pregnant, also seeing my God ordained in the same dream. Another dream, I was with my God ordained, also seeing him with a boy. Yep, write that down. Write it down, and because God can be speaking, he probably still telling you more about that. Thank you all, everyone who's saying congratulations. Thank you, thank you. Julie said, my God ordained spouse ex is steady trying to get him. Go ahead and rebuke her, tell her, call her name out in the spirit, and command that spirit in her to be removed and cast into the sea. And then also break off them soul ties. He had formed with her in the past. I think the confusion come when people on other videos say, even though we dream about the prodigal or God ordained spouse, that it could be the devil, and the devil can't disguise himself as an angel, so hard to see. So here's the thing. Every dream, this is just my belief, okay? I believe all our dreams are from God. Now, when God give us a dream, we got to discern, okay, in this dream, because I said this way, 90% of your dreams you have are about you. It's concerning your life, okay? So we have to now discern, this dream I'm getting, is it sent from the devil? Is it sent from God? Am I having this dream because, we can have soulless dream, because I've been thinking about this all day long. You know how you could be watching a certain show, and then when you go to sleep, you probably dream about things that happen in that show you just watched. So what our dreams are about us and about what's going on in our life, but then we got to move into a space of discernment. Okay, who sent this dream? Is it coming from the devil? Or is it coming from God, or is it coming from my soul? But even if it is coming from the devil, we can still learn from it, because this is how I'm trained. Any dream, any situation, it's like God naturally trained me to look for the devil. Okay. So whatever situation I'm in, I can see the good and the bad. So whatever dream God gives me, I look for, okay, where was the enemy at in this dream? Okay, where was God at in this dream? Okay, and what part of this dream may was coming from my soul, right? So this is, sometimes I do my dreams this way. But I think to eliminate all this confusion, you got other people saying one thing, you come here, you hear me saying something totally different. You have to know God for yourself, okay? And it's not enough just to know him for yourself. I got to be confident in what God said to me concerning my spouse and this God ordained marriage, right? Because if I know God told me that this is my spouse, this particular person, I know God said this is going to end in marriage, and then I'm listening to this person over here and they saying something completely opposite, I'm gonna stop listening to this person over here, because my confidence is in God and what he said. My confidence is not in what I see that is happening, or other people that's speaking, from their own perspective. No, we can clear all this confusion up just by being rooted and grounded in what did God say? What did he promise you? And even if you're having dreams, and let's say in your dream, you see your prodigal, your spouse with another woman. Okay. God is telling you, go ahead and rebuke these counterfeits, whatever it is. If it's negative, okay, take authority over it, because it's so much to dreams. I don't want to get into all of it. It's so much to dream, because sometimes people who's coming up against this love story can be doing witchcraft on you and your love story. And they could be sending you dreams trying to bind your spirit up, right? And so I get in the habit, whenever I have I call it demonic dream, whenever I have a dream I'm not in agreement with, soon as I wake up, I say, I'm not in agreement with that. I say, God, I come out of agreement with that dream. If that wasn't from you, I don't receive it. I don't come into agreement with it. I break it in the name of Jesus Christ, because if, like I was saying, the devil, if people doing witchcraft on you and they sending you certain demonic dreams, and when you wake up, if you don't rebuke it or come out of agreement with it, this is how they get access to your life. And like all hell just start breaking out in your life. So I just say I come out of agreement with that. If that wasn't from you, God, I'll receive that dream. I rebuke it and bind it. Yeah. Is it normal to see old pictures of your prodigal and not get phased anymore? I still love him and pray for him, but I feel like my feelings are not as strong as before. It's little like you're not finished. You're not done talking. I'll say this, because it sounds like a lot of you are in this phase where you're just like, you know what, you're not really being moved like how you used to be, and that can be a good thing, when it's time for those old feelings to come back up, when it's time for we, you know how we be feeling all in love and just want to be up on them or hear their voice. When it's time for you to feel this way, God will bring those feelings back. God could be taking some of those feelings away, because he's like, I want you to focus on this. I want you to do what I'm telling you to do right now, right? But when it's time, oh, he'll bring those feelings back. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you, Miss Mason. Love you back. Mm-hmm. She said, let's see. She said, maybe I'm just guarding my heart and have been hurt much. Did you go through that phase in your journey? I sure did. I told God, I was like, I'm done. And I really, I thought I was done. I thought I was done, and I went through this phase. I think I went about a month where I can literally turn my feelings off. I can like just go cold on a person and act like you don't exist. I can literally do that, and I did that for a month. And then God spoke one word to me, and it was like He just reactivated everything in me all over again. So, and like you said, she was saying maybe I'm just guarding my heart and haven't hurt much. Yeah, that was one of the reasons why I did what I did. Went cold, like I just turned the emotions off because I was hurting during that time. And I also had a fear. See, when you don't take the time out to heal, especially healing towards whatever you've been through with your spouse, and you hear God telling you, okay, they coming back, I'm gonna send them back, or I'm gonna send her back, right? But you haven't healed. In the back of our mind, we will have this fear that when they come back, they're gonna hurt me again, right? They're gonna do the same thing to me again. And because we're not healing, right, that would cause you to keep your guard up. It would cause you, to self-sabotage yourself and this love story. I mean, it does so many different things to you. But yeah, I did go through that. I went through that phase. Yeah. I know. We on fire Saturday night. That's right. Okay. I see my screen want to be acting up. Thank you, Facebook user. I don't know who that is. Thank you for pre-ordering the book. Okay. How do you know if you really just want this person or it's God ordained? You had dreams and confirmation, but you still want to be sure. Well, your first and final confirmation is from the Lord. And I say this all the time, but here's the thing. God is this is a God ordained marriage. So you see, God's name is first. So if I want to know that this is from God and not just from because I like this person, I got to go back to God. I got to go back to my Father. And I think, I'm just going to say what's on my mind. I'm not saying this is you, God's plan, but most people, they just don't know God's voice, and that's where the confusion come in at. That's where they second guess and doubt, they heard God because they're not like secure in his voice. So we gotta, make sure that we're taking the time out while we're going through this divine separation to learn God's voice. Like, how does God speak to me? Begin to identify all the different ways God speaks to you. And then you can ask God too, God, teach me your voice, right? And he will take you through a process where he's teaching you his voice so that the next time when he tell you that this is your spouse, you're believing him. Now, I'll say this, the way how I knew for a fact, like if I took away, because I know God's voice, I know how he speaks to me. If I took away all of that, the way how I knew, it was two ways how I knew that this was my spouse. And I heard right the first time from God because number one, I looked at how the enemy was attacking me, in this love story. Because at first I thought it was jealousy. I was like, oh, they jealous. But then I said, because it started coming from my family, and friends. And I said, wait a minute, it's something else going on here. So when you take a look at how the enemy is attacking your God ordained love story, how the enemy has crept in and blocking communication, and it's just crazy, right? That's a clear indicator that this is God ordained right here because the enemy is scared of the two of you coming together. Now, the other way how I knew, just taking away God's voice and stuff, the other way how I knew that this was my spouse, because when God told me to go, he sent me to him. And I told God no 3 times. I was like, no, I don't want to go to him. No. I had my reasons why. And I told God my reason. But when I finally was obedient to his instruction and I went to my spouse, I knew in that moment it was him because we keep running into each other. That wasn't my first time interacting with him. God has been allowing us to run into each other, probably like 4 or 5 on, different time. And so I had already knew it. I was like, it's something here. It's something here. Cause God, now you telling me to go over here. It's something here, as soon as we, like connect, everything just took off. So I hope that helped. Sylvester say, he said, I've been needing God reassurance like a puppy. Ain't nothing wrong with it though. It ain't nothing wrong with it. But God, and you know what? And God, He would continue to give you that reassurance too, because He's building relationship with you. Oh yeah. Let's see. Freeman said, I had a dream that my God ordained spouse is unblocking me. Yes. So God is showing you in the future, like that could be a month from now, it could be a week from now, it could be a month or 2 months or 3 or whenever. He's telling you whatever he's doing to your God ordained spouse, have a way he's correcting her or dealing with her, she's going to unblock you. Yep. So he's getting you ready because communication is about to happen. She said, no, don't get me wrong. I'm in a rush to get married. You're so silly. ah. Okay, let's see. Excuse me. Any tip any tips on how to stay strong and standing if we are fasting, praying, reading the Bible and all that, but the God ordained spouse is playing the fool in the club with counterfeit? It feels unfair. Yeah, the way how you stand strong is by number one, understanding what is causing me to feel weak, right? So you said your spouse is playing the fool in the club with counterfeits. How do you know that? Because knowing these things about your spouse, it weakens us. We don't realize this all of the time. It weakens us when we start finding out what they're doing, right? When we find out the bad thing, because this tells you that he's not, it sounds like he's going the opposite way from this love story. So these things will cause us to, feel a certain way, a negative way, right? So we want to be mindful of what are the things that are making me feel, like I want to give up. It's making me feel weak. When I hear these things or see these things, I just want to just throw my hands up and say, forget it. I got to become aware of these things, right? And when I become aware of these things, then I have to protect myself. I gotta, if the things I'm doing, if I'm checking the social media page and I'm seeing my product with counterfeit and it's causing me to feel, a negative way, then I gotta stop checking, right? I gotta stop checking because I need all the strength I can keep, to keep standing in this love story. So, and then another thing when we talk about how to stay strong in this, as a standard, or you're not a standard, you God ordained spouse. Just focus on you in this season, focus on healing, identify if you have any insecurities and begin to turn those insecurities into confidence, right? You got to grow stronger. Stay in the word, because that word is going to give you more strength. Continue to fast. You're building up your spirit, man. But take your focus off of what your spouse is doing, or even if God is correcting them, right? And put it on you, put it on yourself. Focus on, your own personal growth. Because when you see that you're growing, right? You see how you growing, you see how God is expanding you and developing you, that it brings a whole different level of confidence in this God ordained love story. Hey, MCA. Okay, let's see. Some of my dreams consist of us buying property and signing title papers title papers together. Him taking me to the beach in his truck, people pointing to him and telling me things, saying that he loves me. Yeah. So those are future dreams, and those are the dreams that God is showing you. He's showing you these dreams because, I don't know what you went through with your spouse in the past, but God doesn't want us to focus on the past. So he's like, I'm going to show you the picture of what I want you to focus on, right? So, excuse me, he's telling you that in the future, you and your spouse, y'all will be buying property together. That's a realm. So he's basically telling you, that when you get with your spouse, when you and your spouse come together in marriage, y'all will be ownership. Okay. That's a whole realm in the spirit realm. And that's probably something God wants you to pray into as well. But yeah, these are future dreams he's giving you. Your spouse will love you. So if there's any doubt that your spouse like you or love you, God is already telling you he will. When I get done with him, he will. Yeah. Okay, met my kingdom spouse at work. When God first told me he was my kingdom spouse, I couldn't believe. Had to go through seeing him with counterfeits until God stepped in and changed everything. Took a lot of prayer. Yeah, prayer works. Prayer works. And prayer, man, it moves. It will remove those counterfeits. I know that. That's a good question. Is everyone called to ordain marriage by God? I'll answer it this way. I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think everyone is called to ordain marriage by God, and the reason why I say that because everyone doesn't believe in God, so that disqualifies you. And then the second reason is because the revelation God has given me about these marriages and what I'm seeing with my clients is that um the people God is pairing together, okay, they have specific assignments, okay. It's like I have a lot of prophets, okay, and teachers, a lot of people who fall in that fivefold ministry who are my clients, and I'm seeing what God is doing. I see what he want to do in this world. And so I was thinking about this the other day. And I was talking to God. I said, I see what you're doing. I see how you are pairing these people up. And they're not just anyone. These are like chosen people. These are people who the world would naturally overlook and reject. But God said, nope, come on. You're my chosen one. I'm going to use you to do this, right? So I don't think everyone is ordained, will have a God ordained marriage, because everyone doesn't believe that God can choose your spouse. Um, I just don't think it. A lot of people don't have what it takes to stay in there. They might give up, go choose a counterfeit, so they'll miss their own blessing. My spouse keep telling me he's trying hard to lead the counterfeit. It so hard? It could be hard if he has a soul tie. It could be hard if the counterfeit is doing witchcraft on him and he doesn't know it. I'm not sure it's just a man or woman asking, but it could be hard if um, your spouse is a people pleaser, right? And or it's just y'all know I be saying stuff on here, and I'm trying to get better at how I say certain things. But if your spouse, and I'm talking about if this is a prodigal husband, if he's weak for this woman, if all it takes is for her to flaunt her body in front of him, okay, so it could be hard for him because that's his weaknesses, right? So, but that's a prayer point. So you can pray, God, give my spouse the strength to lead the counterfeit. Whatever it is about your spouse, God, break off that people pleasing spirit in my spouse, and have him, have him or her, become bold and stand up to the counterfeit and leave, right? Break off every demonic obligation, every ties, attachment, connection my spouse has with this counterfeit that's keeping him or her bound to the devil. Break it off, destroy it with your spirit. So these are prayer points you can pray. But if if you really know your spouse's strength and weaknesses, you can probably begin to identify why is it hard for your spouse to break away from this counterfeit. I knew why my spouse was dealing with those counterfeits, and I was in prayer, praying it down. Okay, I already knew what it was. Oh, thank you. She said I put your 90 days of prayer on a playlist every day. Thank you. Yep. Let's see. Why is it so easy to let go of people in general, like family, friends, acquaintance, but it's so hard to let go of my God ordained wife? Why is it so easy? Probably because that's your God ordained wife. It's easy to let go. I'm gonna just speak for myself right here. It's easy for me to let go of, family, friends, acquaintance, because when they show me who they are, when they show me their true colors, that I'm quick to cut you off. So it's easy for me to do that. But then, when we talk about God ordained wife or God ordained husband, you kind of already built a connection. You know this is from God. You already know. Y'all been hearing me saying this all this time. God's not going to allow you all to leave your spouse. He's not going to, you can't get away from it. So that can also be another reason why it's hard to let go of your God ordained wife. And then that's your wife. You're not supposed to let go of her. You hold on tight. Family and friends, they come and go. Let me see. My God ordained spouse reached out via Facebook Messenger on August 31st, stated he sent a couple of texts with no with no response. I was like, yeah, I changed my number over 5 months ago. Gave him my new number, but haven't heard from him. Yeah, he probably up in his feelings, but and then again, he probably, sometimes I think it's called orbit, where they like to circle around, it could be like every 3 weeks or every 3 months, they like to circle around. They have they had like a whole lot of women, they might call, check up, check, I call it, they try to keep one foot in, right? To make sure you ain't going anywhere. They still can come back when they want to. That's probably what he's doing. But I would pray that out of him. I would pray, um, you know, uh, that he didn't take that as rejection when he was sending you those text messages and getting no response. So I would pray that he wasn't taking that as rejection. I would also pray that God would break off how he's inconsistent and make him consistent in communication. I don't know. Okay, let's see. I don't know my God ordained spouse counterfeit name. How do I handle the both of them having concealed her identity? It has been months since I've been on his page. He's been protecting her. She has helped too. Why they trying to hide her identity? You don't really need her name. All you got to do is go to God in prayer and just say, counterfeit, be removed. Jezebel, I rebuke you and bind you up. Delilah spirit, I rebuke you and bind you up. Um, Trying to conceal this counterfeit identity, be removed. Okay, like if you can identify it, speak that right on out there in prayer and tell it, be removed. Okay, God know who you are. Remove it in the name of Jesus Christ, and they will. But don't worry about why your spouse trying to hide. It could be someone you know. You never know. That's interesting. Can it happen that his soul speaks to your soul in dream? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. I can't really say yes or no. Yeah. Yeah. Come out of agreement can also mean unsubscribe from certain channels and things. That's true. That's true. Everyone who the people I call a friend, I didn't tell any of my family members, but the people I call a friend, when they showed me that they were an enemy to this God ordained love story, I say no more. I said, okay, I'm cutting everyone off. Okay. Like soon as I used to follow a lot of people on YouTube, listen to them, not anymore. You got to just look at a person fruit, because one demonic advice you hear and it's getting in your ear, it can turn you away from your God ordained love story. It can cause you to doubt God. So I start unsubscribing from so many people on not Facebook, YouTube, and stop listening to a lot of people. Why do I keep getting told my kingdom spouse is in bears? Well, who telling you that? Who telling you that? Is that God? If God is the one telling you that, then yeah, when God speaks, he's telling you, this is what's about to happen. Your spouse is about to feel embarrassed. So, it's possible if your spouse misjudged you in the past, if they, wronged you in the past, and God now is about to deal with them and correct them. And they probably didn't even think, let's just say your spouse didn't even think that you were their spouse. And now that they're going through it, now it's been revealed, like, that's your spouse you rejected. That was your wife you overlooked, So these things will cause your spouse to feel embarrassed, but that's a prayer point. So go ahead and pray, because we don't want them to stay feeling embarrassed, right? So we want to, just be praying against the spirit of embarrassment. Yes, God, I want my spouse to learn this lesson. I want them, to feel sorry, but I don't want my spouse to stay feeling embarrassed or guilty or ashamed, for how they responded in the past. So pray against that, whatever God is telling you. God has been showing me dreams of me communicating with my spouse via phone calls and texts, and led me to delete my Facebook account to get closer to God, which is how my God ordained spouse and I connected. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's natural. It's normal, MCA. Let me tell y'all something. I know I come on here and I be saying all this stuff, but listen, divine separation isn't easy. Okay, it's not easy. I go in the kitchen too. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and tell myself I be in the kitchen. A guy, he got to correct me. You know, because like MCA was saying, he said I try to unfollow her and forget about her, but it's hard to. When I do try, it feels like I get a burden upon me. Yeah, that's because you already formed some type of attachment, to your God ordained wife. You know, you'd have thought about it. You probably the picture, y'all married and stuff. That's hard. When God is like, okay, unfollow her. When He placed us in this divine separation, it's hard. Like you gotta really, that's where you gotta, that self-control and discipline gotta kick in with you. But what you feeling is normal, it's natural. We go through it. Mhm. Oh, thank you, Leah. Okay, let's see. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, my screen jumping. 1 second. I gotta find where I was at. Okay, I lost my spot, so I'm gonna just start right here. Why do I keep seeing his name everywhere? That's probably God just, um, just try not to let you forget about your spouse. And then look up his name, see what his name means. That could be another message God is trying to tell you. I know. I know. Excuse me. How do you deal with the prodigals following naked Instagram models and addicted to pornography? I know it's the enemy at work trying to trigger me and make me give up on this whole thing impact. Okay. So your spouse journey to health. Okay. Your spouse following naked Instagram model. So that's lust, you know. So those are spirits. So you just want to pray against the spirit of lust, sexual perversion, pornography, masturbation, fantasy in the mind. Rebuke all these spirits off of your spouse, okay? In the name of Jesus Christ. And then also begin to pray and ask God to move your spouse into a space of a place of purity. Purify his mind, purify his soul, you know. Give him a whole new mind. You want to start praying like this over him, and also pray that God will have your God ordained spouse begin to practice self-control, self-discipline, rebuke that impulsiveness spirit off of him, okay? Because if he's doing all of that, he he probably, he probably act, without thinking a lot. And then you say he's addicted to pornography. Yeah, yep. So just rebuke all these spirits off of him. That's how you deal with that. Yeah. And that's something because you never know how deep that runs. He could have been exposed to this stuff when he was, 7 years old, right? So this is something you're gonna continue to have to it's like a stronghold. So maybe if God moves you into fasting for your spouse, maybe you can fast, stand in the gap for him to try to break that strong man that's on him. What? Oh no! Wait a minute, y'all. Wait a minute. My daughter got this stuff on this TV. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, hold on. Let's see. I am friends. I am friends with my prodigal, but recently I felt led to pray for him, and suddenly he blocked me. What does that mean? That was the enemy. So that was the enemy. Your prayers are working. Okay, let me say that. But that was the enemy. That was the enemy that caused him to block you. That's what I'm saying. So continue to pray because it's working. The enemy got mad with you and had him respond that way. Okay, Jay said, I'm at a point that I'm trying to stand on God's promise of marriage restoration, but I keep having dreams of him with the other woman. She always looks different, but I know it's the woman he's currently with. How do I know those dreams? How do I know those dreams aren't from God telling me to leave him alone and move on? Well, God would directly tell you. So I'm just going to speak from experience. When God tells some of the ways when God was telling me to move on and leave a person, he would say, let them go. Or I would start sensing in my spirit surrender, right? Um, you know, So he would directly tell you, okay? Now, these women that's showing up in your dream, they're looking different, you know, that could be that could be I'm hearing several things in my head, but of course you want to continue to pray against the other woman's spirit, right? Because these are spirits. So the other woman's spirit, I rebuke you and bind you in the name of Jesus Christ. I command that other woman to be removed. I command all of these women that, because the different, you said they always look different in your dream. That can also represent the soul ties that, you know, you stand for marriage. The soul ties your husband has made with women. It could have been women before y'all got married, but they still attached to his soul. And now God is showing you in your dream. He's like, look, I need you to go ahead and break this off of him. Okay. So it's so many different ways how I can interpret that, but I will rebuke that other woman's spirit. I will also ask God, break off every soul tie, unhealthy soul tie my husband formed with women, you know, before me, after me, you know, break these soul ties off of him. But I don't believe that's God telling you to move on. No, because you still married. Mm-mm. Okay. With God, with God marrying the God ordained spouse in the spirit, when we come back in the physical union, do you think getting married right away, 3 to 6 months, shouldn't be a thought, but rather focus on getting to know the new creation God created us to be, building a foundation before getting it legalized? Or what are your thoughts? I mean, yeah, because you got to take a look at, because some of you are on here, you don't know your spouse. You just heard God tell you, you know, just pray, right? So if that is you, you know, like if you never met your spouse, of course you want to, you know, you're not going to just jump into no marriage. You want to get his time. You got to get to know this person, you know, things of that nature. And the same thing applies, because even if you know who your spouse is, right, and you know how they responded to you in the past, when God sends your spouse back, you know, I don't suggest anyone just you know, you going right into marriage like the next day. Because you gotta, like you were saying, I gotta see the correction. I gotta make sure, you know, that I can trust you on that level. And then if you have children, you know, another thing, you gotta, you know, it's like you can't just go into it real fast. Now I'm gonna tell you something, because God had already he already spoke to me and told me fast wedding approaching. Okay. So if God has given you that word, you know, then you know he's telling you what's gonna happen, right? But you know, if you want to, like how you said, you want to focus on getting to know the new creation in God, building a foundation, you know, all of that, go ahead, build that friendship up, you know. Now, I don't think when God sends your spouse back, the two of you should be sitting up here getting to know one another for 2, 3 years. It don't take that long. I don't think that, you know, maybe 3 months, build, try to build a friendship with your spouse and see how they're, you know, see if they're consistent with you. And, you know, you got to really know what works for you. But I wouldn't wait. What I'm saying here is I won't be dating or courting someone longer than a year, because it don't take that long. Okay. And I also won't just roll over into a marriage, you know, like soon as God sent them back. No, because I have children, right? So I gotta give time for my children to get to know him. You know, I gotta see how God corrected you. I gotta see, you know, that you learned your lessons, you know, you're not going back to counterfeits. It's the certain things I need to see before I say I do. Because, you know, I used to be married before. So I want this marriage to stay together for life. Okay. So, you know, just take a look at, you know, what are the things you need to see, and what is your, you know, timetable. Okay, because I just know for me, we already, you know, knew each other in the past, but I'm not about to be sitting up here dating or courting for like 2, 3 years. I'm not doing that. She said, child, the okay. He said, the Lord gave me a vision of my kingdom spouse 2 months ago. He revealed his name and told me we would meet soon. Every day I have been putting on my good wig and haven't seen a thing. Lord, how long? Okay, I just thought that was funny. You like, I've been putting on my good wig. Okay, like I'm trying to stay ready. When God says soon, soon could be next week. Soon could be in 3 months. Soon could be 2 years. Soon means like, when we hear soon from God, we thinking it's like next week or maybe tomorrow, right? When it's really getting close, when you keep hearing it, okay? Like when God speed it up. So if you keep hearing soon, I don't know if you're hearing it from prophetic voices. If you keep hearing it like every day, then your soon may be within the next week or the next month. Um, if God is giving you dreams, and sometimes God will give us the same dream over and over and over, right? It could be the same message. So sometimes he'll do that because we haven't gotten the understanding from it. And then other times he'll do that because he's like, it's about to happen. Get ready. That's what he's saying. So you gotta look at, your soon, how many times do I keep hearing God say this? Because again, sometimes soon could mean 2 years from now, or it can mean next week. Let's see. I spoke to my prodigal in May fully. He said he would visit me in October. Okay. We have not talked since the end of July. He went home to his country to visit. Should I allow him to come? Well, before you allow him to come, because y'all haven't talked since July. This is October. And so he want to visit you in October. Well, before he visit, I would, this is just me, because I like consistency. Okay. So if he called you this month trying to come to visit you, I want to know, well, what happened to the other months? What was going on in the other months? Why wasn't the communication still going, right? Before I just allow him to come visit. Okay. And then I will also be trying to figure out, well, what's the purpose of your visit? Like, I know you want to see me, but what are your plans when you come, to see me? So I don't know. I don't know. That's how I am. Because I like consistency. I can't last talk to you in July and then October you pop up want to see me. I'm not gonna let you see me. That's how I am. Mm-hmm. Is it okay to move away? Ask God. Ask God. You know, talk to God about, moving, where you should move to, because he know all. He know how he's going to direct your love story. That's right. She said, I believe the chosen ones answered the call to do the work. Yeah. And that's why we see a lot of chosen ones are the ones being chosen for these God ordained marriages. Some of you don't even think you're a chosen one, but you are. If you look at your life, you are. Okay. Hold on. Why is my prodigal following my YouTube? Remember, I did that video. Your spouse is watching you on social media. Excuse me. So I know some of your story, built in fire. So your prodigal could be following your YouTube because he know how he responded to you in the past. right? And sometimes God will have the prodigals when they overlooked, rejected their wife, and they didn't know it. Let's say he didn't know or did know that you were his wife. Okay, God gonna show them. He gonna have them watch you. You know, on social media, he gonna have them watch. Like, okay, you see what you rejected, you see what you overlooked. Now you gotta watch. They gotta sit down and watch you. Okay, and this is why I was telling you all, get in your purpose, start your ministry, whatever God is telling you to do it, because you know, he got them sitting there watching you all on social media. So give them something to watch. Give them a show. But I'm not talking about any type of show. Give them a show showing how you working your purpose. You know, how you leveling up, how you getting better. Okay. So yeah, he's following you because God probably got him right there looking at you. I think you can feel when your God ordained spouse is thinking about you. I think you can. Yep. I have. Is our um God ordained spouse our assignment? I wouldn't say there I wouldn't say our God ordained spouse is our assignment. However, I will say God will use us to cover them in prayer to save their life. I wouldn't attach it to an assignment, because your assignment, like this is my assignment, to prepare God ordained spouses, you know, to walk into their God ordained marriage. So when I think about assignment, this is what God has called me to do. This is where I got to give correction, understanding, insight, you know, like I'm investing in this. God doesn't want us all like that, investing into these spouses like that. Because God is the one who's going to bring that correction, he's the one who's going to restore them. But he will use us and say, go over there and pray for your spouse, so that the devil won't take their life. Okay, let's see. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay. Would God allow your kingdom spouse to have dreams about your ex who was a counterfeit? Those dreams are from the devil. That's demonic. Or it could be soulless dream. Nah, God, see, God is all good. You know, he's not gonna give you no dream. He's not gonna give your spouse a dream of a counterfeit. Mm-mm. Unless he's unless he's delivering a message, you know, to your spouse about that counterfeit. He might be saying, if that happened, then that means God is telling that your spouse, this isn't the one, or he could be revealing who this counterfeit really is, you know. But yeah, I'll just say that. What are some attacks that happens in the illegal seal stage? So some I'm gonna just the illegal seal stage, you know, you're in this stage, and this can happen. The revelation God gave me, this can happen all throughout the stages, because until we get a level of stability. But the illegal seal stage is when the devil begins to attack the believing spouse, right? And now he has caused the believing spouse to come into agreement with what the devil is saying, right? So you know you're in this stage when you start, you know what you heard God. God gave you 50,000 dreams of your spouse, confirming this love story. but yet what's coming out of your mouth, the believing spouse, what's coming out your mouth is, I don't want it, I'm giving up, I quit, I can't stand my spouse. You speaking against it, right? So that's the attack of the enemy, because he would keep our eyes focused on what's going wrong. God could have corrected your spouse, he could have did a whole lot of things, but soon as we see them with a counterfeit, we like, God not moving. I'm done with this. I'm done standing, right? So those are some of the attacks of the enemy. And then with your prodigal spouse, they're not in their legal stage, but the way how they are being attacked in this stage, it's not, they're not in this stage, but the way how the devil attacks them is with appearance. you know that's one of the reasons why these prodigals, are hesitant in coming into agreement with these love stories, because it doesn't look the way how they want it to look, right? Because they got that people pleasing spirit, right? They're trying to get other people to approve of this love story, making sure it looked the way how, it could be how they family wanted to look, right? And so because they don't think it's looking that way, they stay out of it. They don't, they keep on circling around with these counterfeits. I just rebuke that. If you seeing your spouse in issues with the counterfeit everywhere, I just rebuke that. You know, just rebuke that. How do I know for certain this is my God ordained spouse? God, your relationship with God. I don't know how many times I gotta say this. It's your relationship with God. You have to know when God say this is your spouse. Like you just gotta believe it. You gotta know. That God would never lie to me. So I know this is my spouse for certain because God said it. He said it. And then if I need to back up more of that, then I'm just looking for evidence, right? I'm looking at how this enemy is attacking this love story. So that's another confirmation that this is my spouse. I'm also looking at, how the counterfeits, how they respond to me, because the counterfeit, they can spot the chosen one. They know who the God ordained spouse are. So when they see you, they might try to become your friend. They might, speak against you to your spouse to try to turn them away from you. They might even do witchcraft on you. So I'm looking at how the counterfeits are responding to me. They might even try to be you. They might try to become you, look like you, dress like you, talk like you, you know. So long story short, you just know for certain this is your spouse because God said it. I don't go back and forth with God. I did when he first told me to go to him. I had my reasons why I went back and forth with God, and God knew why I went back and forth with him. But I didn't doubt it. When I got that revelation, I said, okay. Hmm. Virtual hug back. I'm sending one back. Oh yeah. So now see, this is a God dream. She said, I think this is very important. I had a dream with my kingdom spouse where we were at an event together, and I felt so at peace. So God is peace, right? I felt so at peace in the dream, and then I fell asleep on his shoulder. So that was a God dream. If that was all that happened, that dream was from God. Can someone not be a counterfeit but also not be the one? Yeah. I mean, in my mind, the way how I interpret all this, you either God ordained or you a counterfeit. It's all on how you say it. You either Mr. Right or Mr. Wrong. you know. So, they could not but I think they are a counterfeit. If they not God ordained, it's a counterfeit and they're not the one. You're welcome. You're welcome. They get ready to answer the call. So PVM, I dreamed that I yelled across a bridge to the God ordained spouse and asked if they were saved. They started to answer, but I woke up. Yeah, they about to answer the call. hmm Keep praying. Yep. You're welcome, Jay. I believe so. When God ordained spouse meet each other in person for the first time. Oh, you said for the first time. Yeah. Does something like your soul spark in recognition or something? I believe so. It could. Um, it can also feel like time, or what is it I want to say? Like slow motion. You know how you could put a movie in slow motion or a video in slow motion? You might experience something like that, when you meet your spouse for the first time. It's like things just start slowing down and it's like it look like it's in slow motion or whatever. It's hard to explain. But yeah, I believe your souls, it will something on the inside of you would leak, or there will be like a recognition. Yep, I watched The Matrix. Yep. Oh, okay. That's you. That's your. Oh, okay. He said off topic, but there's an episode on Curb Your Enthusiasm about the word soon. Funny. Oh, okay. Thanks for sharing. Stay ready. Look, stay ready. Okay. You keep wearing them wigs. Okay. You never know. The day you don't wear it is when you gonna meet them. ah. Shantae, how is he a prodigal if he's not your husband? You don't gotta be your husband. Prodigal means a prodigal is someone who used to be a believer in God, in Christ, but now they turned away from God and now is serving the devil. So that it don't mean they don't have to be husband or wife. A prodigal is someone who has turned away from the Lord and is now serving the devil. They often wild, reckless living, a lot of disobedience, they're in darkness. That's right. That's right, Crystal. Okay. My kingdom spouse just had a baby with his counterfeit. He's been trying to come back to me for a few years, but I think now the baby is born. That that's why he is stalling, because he doesn't want to tell me. And then you said, can the prodigal kingdom spouse choose to quit God's plan, or will God make it happen regardless? Number one, is this his first child? If this is your prodigal spouse first child and he, now that the baby is born, he's stalling, you got to understand what's going on in his mind. He probably always wanted his own family, right? Not saying he wanted a family with this counterfeit, but now that he have his baby, and he with this counterfeit, it's giving him that family vibe, and then he probably also, you got to look at his relationship with his parents. Did he grow up in a divorced family? Was his father in his life? Because if not, he probably have fear. He probably like, I don't want to, show up like my dad. My dad wasn't in my life. I don't want to, have to leave my child's life, So he might have a whole lot of stuff, thoughts going on in his mind, and that's what's causing him to stall. It's not necessary that he's going to quit on God's plan, but he haven't figured out how can I go to my God ordained wife? Do he know you are his God ordained wife? But how can I go to my God ordained wife and still, be a father to my child, because my God ordained wife know I had this baby by this counterfeit? Like, you got to look at everything. You got to look at this whole picture, because that's probably what he's dealing with. Wait a minute. MCA, I see your comment. I'm gonna get to it. Wait a minute. My screen jumping, y'all, so it's causing me to lose my spot. So if you post a comment and I'm not getting to it, just repost it again. When I am praying, should I pray what God told me to pray in the spirit, or is my prayer also effective when I read a prayer? Yeah, it's both. Pray what God tell you to pray in the spirit, and then you can also, when I read a prayer, I consider that being strategic prayer, because sometimes I will write my prayers down, so I know exactly how to target that enemy, and then I read it back. So yeah, both of them work. Yeah, that's go ahead and rebuke that counterfeit spirit that's trying to come your way, treasure. Yeah, Crystal. So she said, my problem is with this guy telling me God showed me you're my wife. If God haven't told you, Crystal, don't believe that. Just tell him, oh, okay, I'm still waiting on God to reveal that to me. After you tell him. What does it mean if the man says God told him to leave, but God is telling the wife that he is going to bring them back together? Is he still a prodigal if God told him to leave the marriage? God didn't tell him to leave no marriage. That's him. God would never say to a husband or a wife, leave your marriage, because God is for marriages, okay? Now, what God will do is begin to correct, whoever need the correction in the marriage, right? So he will correct, either the husband or the wife. And with correction, it's like scales, right? So correction, it's just like things are now falling off your eyes. Now I got a different perspective. Now I can see things clear, right? God can also move, whoever it is into healing, right? And so while God is doing these things, now that I'm not saying this is what's happening with him, but this is what I'm saying. God would never tell a spouse to leave a marriage. He will correct you. He will heal you. And that when God corrects us and moves us into a level of healing, now the scales are off, and now we get to see, like, wait a minute, I got myself in this marriage. I'm not sure if I want to stay here. You see what I'm saying here? So that person can now decide to leave the marriage. But I don't think God would ever tell a spouse, leave. divorce. I don't think that. He will correct you. He will move you into a level of healing. If God never called, this particular spouse to be in this marriage, he will, he'll move however he see fit. But I don't think he would tell a spouse to leave. And then you said how you're hearing God telling you that he's going to bring this back together, right? So just go ahead and continue to pray, stand. You heard from God. Yeah, but I don't believe God would tell a married person to leave. No, he will bring correction. He will hold people accountable. He will move you into a level of healing, and all of that will cause you to take a look at the marriage you enter into and decide if you want to stay in it or not. Sylvester in FCA, y'all better cut it out. FCA said, will you introduce your husband to your YouTube channel once you get married? I sure will. Y'all know y'all gonna see him right next to me. You sure will. He'll be right here speaking to the man. Yep. Yes, indeed. Okay, this thing is jumping. What if God told you that your God ordained spouse knows, but your God ordained spouse is hiding it? Know what? During our first conversation in years, he was playing FBI and asking questions and has given some clue that he know. Well, he know that you're his God ordained wife, and he's hiding it. Yeah, he might be hiding it. He might be hiding that fact. It could be a lot of reasons why he hiding that. That he know who you are. He could feel like he's not ready yet to step into this marriage. He could still be trying to look, and learn things about you. That's why he was acting like the FBI, asking all these questions. It could be a lot of reasons. How do we know what our purpose is? Things have improved in my life during my separation, and I've been doing things to better myself, but I'm unsure of what my purpose is and don't want to be out of it. So we just did a class last week on how to discover your purpose and the purpose of your God ordained marriage. I pulled that was inside of our marriage prep boot camp, but I did pull that one class out. And it's on the website, available. If this is something you're trying to figure out, what is your purpose? Number one, you can simply ask God, what is my purpose? What is it? What is the thing you have, created for me to do here on earth? And God would tell you this. Now, the thing is, when God begins to reveal our purpose to us, sometimes we reject our own purpose. Sometimes we run from our purpose. So, you have to be open to receiving or hearing whatever God is telling you, but yeah, you can, but the class replay, it is up on the our God Ordained Marriages website. But I believe a lot of people know what their purpose is. They're just running from it. They feel like they're not ready. If they say they happy with Counterfeit, is this the opposite? Let me tell you something. Your God ordained spouse, you are the best. There's no happiness with a counterfeit. Counterfeits bring confusion. Counterfeits moves the king to anger. Look at Vashti, how she moved the king to anger. And if your spouse is telling you that, I'm happy with the counterfeit. Well, no, you're not, because you're telling me that. You're trying to make me jealous. You're not happy. You're trying to make me jealous. You're trying to get a reaction out of me. You're very miserable. You probably don't even want to be with this counterfeit because you're trying to tell me, probably hoping that activate like that created me, to cause me to come chasing behind you. You're not happy. No, they're not happy with them counterfeits. They're not happy. Have you ever been happy with a counterfeit? Think about it. Mm-mm. I want to hold up. What if the counterfeit is a family member? What you mean? Like your family member dating your spouse? I'm gonna keep my mouth closed if that is the case. I hope it's not a family member dating my spouse. Keep it away from me. Um, how do you block dreams from the enemy that's so doubt and fear? Well, that's gonna come. You just wanna it's gonna come. The enemy is always looking for ways to creep in. You know, I ain't gonna go there. So the enemy is always looking for ways to creep in. So, what you want to do every day is making sure you're praying every single day. Okay. Praying against the enemy. I rebuke every attack from the enemy trying to enter into my dream, to cause me to doubt or even be in fear. I will also pray and ask God, I do this with my children at night because I'm noticing because when the enemy can't get to me, then he tries to attack my children in their sleep. So I always pray and I ask God, to give my children Holy Spirit dreams, protect them, protect their dreams, don't allow the enemy to scare them, in their dreams or whatever. So you could say something like that as well. What should I do if my kingdom spouse is denying my love and has said I should move on, but doesn't know I'm his kingdom spouse? Well, that's why he's telling you that, because he doesn't know who you are. Okay. Which means he sees you all wrong. He might see your love as, you know, a lot of men, they would say that he might see your love, the way how you expressing your love to him, as she's desperate or she's needy. I'm not calling you that, but this is how most men will see it. Okay. This is why he's rejecting it. Okay. So even though he's telling you that you should move on, this is what I would tell you. Because what he's communicating to you is he can't even identify true love when it's right in his face. He also doesn't know how to identify a wife. So I will move away from him. And I'm talking about remove like your presence from him. I will stop. Whatever you're doing, I will stop. So if I'm calling him, I'll stop. If I'm telling him how I feel, I'll stop. I'll save it, because he's basically all this rejection he's doing. He's basically telling you he don't want it. He can't receive it. He can't identify you as his wife right now. So I would save it. I would value that part of me and focus on yourself right now. Now, his rejection doesn't mean that this is God's no. It doesn't mean that. It just means God need to come in here, correct him, heal him, okay? And change, whatever God needs to change in him. Maybe his heart, okay? Maybe his desires and stuff. But I will stop doing whatever you're doing that's causing him to, reject you, because he doesn't deserve it. He don't deserve your love. He don't deserve your attention. He doesn't deserve your affection. He doesn't deserve your support. When he showed you he can identify you as his wife and he receiving your love, that's when he deserve it. Um, okay. Can God show you which year you're going to get married, but not the month of the year? God can show you anything he want to show you. But I'm going to say this. He can show you the year, but not the month. But God also knows. See, God, He doesn't reveal everything to us. He only give us like one or two steps. He had just revealed to you one or two things, right? And He does that because He wants us to keep coming back to Him. Like God literally wants us to see Him as our Father. The same way how similar to how you see your dad. He want us to see Him as our Father. Keep going back to God for instruction. Asking questions. God, I don't understand this. You keep telling me soon, but I don't see anything. He love it. I wear him out. Okay, I know I'd be getting on his nerves, but so this is why he don't tell us everything. So I do believe he can tell you what year you're going to get married, but not the month. But you know, he don't reveal everything. If he's not revealing the year, it's because he wants you to keep on coming back. He wants you to keep coming back, searching it out, asking him, "What are you doing? Why is it taking so long?" Right? The enemy can interfere in your dreams God gives you. Why do we have to go through that, Taquila? Kingdom spouse having babies with someone else. I want my kingdom spouse to only have babies with me. Like, that's horrible. We go through that because they're prodigal. Prodigal's not in their right mind. If he doesn't identify you as his wife, that's why you go through that, because he doesn't see you as his wife right now. Or vice versa. It could be the wife, having children by another man. It's because it has everything to do with their mindset and where they at in life. It's not that God taking you through this. No, it's just this person right here. They can't. They haven't identified you as their spouse. They think this counterfeit is a better option, so they over there having babies with them. And then when God come in and correct them, now they regretting having these babies with these counterfeits. What should I do if my kingdom husband is being incredibly deceitful and is telling me to move on, but he doesn't know I'm his kingdom wife, and I feel that he is ignoring God? Well, yeah, those are prayer points. So deceit, okay, rebuke that spirit of him operating in that deceitful behavior. Go ahead and he's ignoring God. Okay, so he probably a prodigal. So go ahead and continue to pray for his salvation. Pray that God, and get him face to face encounters, to where he can no longer ignore what you said to him, God. These are prayer points. You can't listen to them when they in this state of mind. When you seeing deceit, when they ignoring God, you can't listen to what they saying. Okay, and you also can't interact with them. Okay, because you're interacting with the devil. This is the enemy. Okay, so yes, move on, get out of his presence, because that's the enemy you're interacting with. But also know, just because you're seeing these things, that doesn't mean God said no. That doesn't mean God changed his mind. It doesn't mean you just give up and leave. It do mean y'all in a divine separation. Take your hands off, but continue to pray. Whatever God show you, you see deceitfulness, okay, pray against that, rebuke it. He's ignoring God, okay, rebuke it, okay, and also invite God in there so he can encounter him. I always pray, give him no rest. He trying to ignore you, God. Everywhere he go, show up in his dreams. When he go to his mama house, have his mama get him a word. Give him no rest. When does one know when it's truly time to launch your ministry? How did you know? I knew because God told me. He gave me the name. He led me into the name, and then well, I'll say this. I won't start with God ordained marriages because I was already ready. Before God ordained marriage, I was ministering to single mothers, right? So I was a prodigal. Okay. So God told me in 2015 to write my book, sharing my story, how God delivered me from depression and healed my heart in 30 days. And so I didn't want to share that story because that was a story of me being abandoned while pregnant. And I thought it was embarrassing, right? And I didn't know that God was really calling me into like ministry, okay, minister to the single mothers. So I ran. I was a Jonah. I ran for 2 years. And then when I just up out of the blue one day started having heart attacks, I knew what was going on. So when I had these heart attacks, I had about 5 heart attacks in one day. When I was in the hospital, I just told God, I said, okay, I'll be obedient. I know what's going on. I need you. Like, don't take my life. And so that's when I knew it was time to start my ministry, okay? Because I didn't want to die, so I just leaped into there. But when if God placed it on your heart that you have a ministry in you, just step into it. What is the first step I can take in, launching this ministry? So maybe, figure out your platform, where you want to launch your ministry at, where you want to start it at. Do you want to start it on YouTube? Okay. Record your first video and upload it, just step into it. As you take one step, God is going to take another step with you. Okay. And before you know it, you're going to have a full blown ministry. All right. But I knew it because I was a Jonah, and I was just like, okay, I'm ready to be obedient so you can save my life. Sylvester, you better say it again. If you're not ready for your purpose, you're not ready for your spouse. You're not. Because if you're not ready for your purpose, if you're hesitant on stepping into your purpose, that also means you're going to be hesitant in stepping into your marriage. Think about it. The way how you do one thing is how you do everything. You got to step into your purpose. Purpose for a man reveals the plan. It reveals the vision. Okay. When the man have a plan, okay, it brings a level of confidence. Okay, I can see the vision now. Now I know, where I'm leading my family, right? And then not just any plan, this is God's plans, right? So, that's why I keep saying we have to. Most people know what their purpose is. They're just afraid to launch out because you got all these fears. You don't know if I have what it takes. What if this happened? What if that happened? What if these people say this or that? Whatever. People gonna talk about you when you're doing good, when you're doing bad. Okay, you're gonna make mistakes, but failure is never failure. When you step out and you do something and it doesn't work, it just taught you what you didn't know. It taught you what to do next, right? But you're absolutely correct, Sylvester. If you're not ready for your purpose, you're not ready for your spouse. You're not. Because when you get in these marriages, when you get in your marriage and God say, okay, one of your purpose might be to have children. And you're like, I ain't ready for that. I don't want to get. You keep telling God no. He can't use you. See, God doesn't want. When I was married, I used to be married. I was married at an early age, like 21 years old. But I believe I got on my husband's nerve. Okay, I really do. He didn't say it. I think I got on his nerves because I didn't know my purpose then. And because I didn't know myself, I didn't know my purpose. Oh my God, I wore him out. He tried to go to the store. I'm like, where you going? I'm coming with you. Everywhere he went, I'm right there on his toes. Okay. And that's a disaster. Okay. That will wear your spouse out. But it all came from because I was looking for him, to like keep me filled up, keep validating me, and then when you're married and you don't know your purpose, you kind of hit this, you kind of, get in this little routine, you're just existing, in your marriage. There's no fulfillment. You're just doing the same routine every day. It's boring. You're losing the spark. It's not going to last. So he said counterfeit is like junk food. Wow. Wow, wow. Built-in fire, he's not happy with no counterfeit. Even if he is happy, let me tell you something. Look, this is the mindset I have. Even if your spouse say he's happy, he or she is happy with the counterfeit, okay. But I'm about to tear all that up in prayer. Okay. I don't care. I don't care. You probably are happy. I don't care. God said, I'm not gonna say this to them, but this is how I am in prayer. God, you said this is my spouse. So break that up. Break all that happiness up over there. That's how I am. I don't care if you are happy. God has a whole nother level of happiness over here with your spouse. Because they, they experiencing this level with a counterfeit. With a counterfeit, they on this level. But when and they think this is where their happiness is at. But when they get with God ordained, we taking them all the way up here. They got a whole new level of happiness up here that they don't even know about. So I don't care about you being happy. I'll break all that up in the spirit. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He could. Can God give you a dream of a celebrity mayor to show you what he is working on in your situation? Oh, I had read that wrong when I first read it. He could though. Yeah, God can give you anything. He could show you anything in a dream. Did God give you signs when you was praying for him and he was changing without seeing or speaking to him? Yeah, yeah. Um, I think it was April. I think it was April. I think he was still a prodigal then, but April was the month that I was like, I'm done. And I really, that was the month when I just told myself, I took the mindset, I'm out, I'm done. I'm about to cut you off in my brain. And I did for a whole month. The whole month of April, I just acted like he didn't exist. But God gave me I was praying. It wasn't a dream. I was praying. And when I was praying, sometimes when God is speaking to me and he trying to give me a word, he won't let me off of that word. And I remember saying removal. I kept saying it, removal. And I kept coming back to it. And then he had gave me the whole revelation. But that day he gave me a revelation that things was changing in his life. And then he gave me a dream. In the beginning, God actually started giving me dreams, the future dreams of how he would be, when God correct him and change his heart. I had got those dreams like towards the beginning last year. And then but this year, God really been giving me dreams of his wrath and judgment, So I'm seeing like what he's going to go through and how he's going to feel. He's showing me this type of things in my dream. And I already know just from last year's dreams how God is changing him, because God already gave me those dreams first. So sometimes God would, he does things out of order. And like last year, he gave me the dreams of how he's going to be and receive me when God changed his heart. And then this year, he just showed me this is what he's about to go through. He's up under my wrath and judgment. This is what he's going through. And I know why he was showing me that, because he wanted me to pray him through that stuff. How many years should you date your God ordained spouse before marriage? Listen, I think okay, so I'm gonna say it this way. Dating is collecting data. Okay, so I know most people look at dating like you're going out on a date, you're going, out to dinner, whatever. I don't look at dating like that. I'm just collecting data. Like, I'm your friend, and I'm just asking you questions, learning about your life, right? That's what I consider dating. Now, courting, that's a whole different ball game. If you were to ask me how many years should you court your God ordained spouse before marriage, I believe, it should be no more than a year. No more than a year, because it don't take that long. It do not take that long. If I know you're my spouse, God told my spouse I'm your spouse. Okay, what we playing around here for? I'm not saying jump right into it, but okay, let's take 3-6 months, get to know one another. If I got kids, get to know my kids. You got kids, let me get to know your children, But what we playing around here for? God already said what this is, So I think no longer than a year. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That could mean a lot of things. She said, what does that mean? He was going through God's wrath. When God places you and your spouse in a divine separation, that means whoever the prodigal is now up under God's wrath. So that means God removed his hand off of their life. So they just, they're just out there, God hand, his grace, his favor, his mercy isn't over them. That's what that means. So when I had shared the story of when God told me in 2015 to share my story of being abandoned while pregnant and how he delivered me from depression, and I told God no, I didn't know God removed his hand from me, as a result of my disobedience. And so my sign to know that God's hand was removed off of my life was when that one day in 2017, I got 3 children. So at that time I had 2 of my children in the two, the little 2-seater stroller. I had them in the stroller and I was outside trying to push them and I couldn't push the stroller. I was running out of breath. That caused me to go to the hospital. Only for me to learn while I was in the hospital that I had like several heart attacks that same day. So God's hand was off of my life. He removed it. He was like, okay, go ahead. You want to be disobedient to me? Okay. So, God's wrath, that's what it means. He just removed his hand off of their life until they repent. If they don't never repent, then they're gonna be, they're gonna leave this world. I can't tell you how long the wrath and judgment lasts. I don't know. I don't know, because some people are just very prideful. Some people, I'm not speaking about prodigals. I'm not speaking about like our God ordained spouses, but I'm just speaking to people in general. I know people, okay? I have baby daddies who are still up under God's judgment, but because of their pride, you know, they'd rather suffer and struggle and be sick, have sickness in their body than just repent. So it can last for a long time. It's up to the prodigal. It's up to them. All they got to do, because God's wrath and judgment, it is designed to get their attention. It's designed to get your prodigal's attention so that they become aware. Okay, wait a minute. Because some of them, when you're a prodigal, you have a mind of no understanding. So some of them, when they were serving the devil, they probably thought they were serving God, or they probably didn't even think it was a God, right? So God poured out his wrath and they go through that judgment because God is like, I want to show myself to you. I want to show you, okay, I'm all powerful than the devil. I want to show you, yes, the devil give you some blessing that ain't gonna last, but God's blessing comes without sorrow. So it's like he's showing them things, trying to move them into a space of repentance, and it's up to them. It's up to them to repent. And when you up under God's wrath and judgment, you losing everything. I had lost everything. Okay, I had to start completely over. That's a good thing. You could be married at a young age. Yeah. She said, yes, I agree. When it's God, he will move fast. That's why you got to be prepared. Preparing, doing the separation. God showed me he don't take long once he put a cover together. Nah. And hold up. It don't take long. For some of you are prodigal, when God brought y'all together. For some of them, y'all could have been married, but because they let that enemy get in their ear, because they was listening to the enemy, they got that people pleasing spirit. That's what that came in the way of this marriage from coming together. So I don't focus on it. She said, I'm tired and annoyed and find it so hard to keep fighting. How do you find the endurance to continue? I don't focus on it anymore. See, I used to feel like that last year when I was focused on it, when I was, like really invested. I'm invested in it now, but it's more like a back of the mind. It's just I just found a level of contentment in this story. I'm telling you, that's not my focus. It's not. I got 3 kids over here. Okay, we got goals over here that I'm accomplishing. So that's what I focus on. And then I mean, if you just knew my story, if you knew the things I've been through in my life, you know, I'm like, I'm not about to get this enemy anymore. I'm not wasting any more time on another man. That's my mindset right now. I'm not wasting more time on a man. I already talked to God about this. I was like, when he ready, here come. He got my number. Here go. Until then, I'm over here building. I'm over here. I know where I'm going. Meet me there. That's my attitude. And so because I had this attitude, I don't lose the energy. I don't lose my hope. I'm able to stay focused. But I also know, and then too, because God be showing me so many things in my dreams, I already know what God is doing with him. So it's when what God showed me, I'd be like, oh, okay, so we on track. I get to measure it. My week has been long, Sylvester. Tomorrow, I'm resting. Thank you for asking. I'm going to rest tomorrow. Y'all probably hear my daughter snoring. I know he's not happy because he's not even in purpose. Um, that's why he's watching me and unblocking me behind her back. Even tried to make fake accounts to watch me. Yeah. Yeah, see, if he's not in purpose, that tells me a whole lot. If he's not in purpose, he doesn't know who he is. He's running, he might be running from his purpose. He's not happy. hmm And I'm gonna tell you something, because I know some of you are getting tired in prayer, and it can feel overwhelming to you. This is what I do. I just have I have a set prayer. Like, I got a routine every day when I'm taking my children to school. Of course, I'm praying. My children, we on a routine. So my children, they pray. while we on our way to school. And when I dropped them off, I had like a little routine of prayers I go through. So I pray for myself. I pray over my children. I pray for my God ordained spouse. I pray for the God ordained community here. And it's another one. Oh, and I've been praying. God has been having me pray for the school system here. So I go in that, that's my little routine every day. And I do this before I come back home. So I'm getting these prayers in while I'm dropping the kids off at school and on my way back home. So sometimes I got to circle around the block a few times or whatever. I don't know why I do it. It's just something I do. So with me already knowing these are my prayer points, these are the things I have to pray for every day, I don't get overwhelmed. I don't get tired, right? And then my prayer, even though it's a routine, they're not always the same, because sometimes God would take my tongue and he'll direct it and have me pray something else. And so I just allow him to lead that, But my mindset is, let me get these prayers in, because God gave me the revelation. One day I didn't pray, and that was the day the enemy attacked me. So I was like, okay, I got to pray every day. He gave me it was like he showed me like a vision, like it's a shield. So I just get my prayers in, and I just be like, okay, go ahead, God, have your way. I don't get tired in it, because I have my little routine or whatever. I just get it in the morning, go on about my day. Okay. It's been 2 hours. I was not planning on being on here for 2 hours, y'all. Okay. We're going to do about 3 more questions, and then we're going to end. That's right. That's what God wants us to do. Just focus on enjoying our life. Like you said, laugh more, start doing your hobbies, painting, dancing. Yeah, he just wants us to enjoy our life. He also, I said this to God. I said, God, I actually want to enjoy this process too. I really do. I really want to enjoy this process, because I'm changing, I'm growing. I want to enjoy this. I'm enjoying how God is speaking to me, this new revelation God is giving me. So yeah, just try to enjoy every moment. Yep. Yep, that's true. You could be very focused on, one particular thing, and that would cause you to neglect other areas of your life. That's true. Okay. 16 months standing now, in middle of divorce. I don't see any breakthrough in my wife. Been married 28 years. Treat me like I don't exist. We have 6 kids. Dreams of restoration seems impossible. So is God giving you dreams of restoration? But even though God's giving you dreams, it's still seeming impossible. Is that what you're saying? My nose stopped up, y'all. Y'all gotta forgive me. But how have you been praying? Let me tell y'all this testimony. So one of my clients, she's a stander. And she's only been standing for marriage restoration since April. She already getting results. She do exactly what I tell her to do. I give her prayer points. She does. She does it. I gave her that love and respect book. She read it, implement it. Okay. And she is getting results. She's seeing how God is correcting her spouse. She's growing as a wife. She getting results. It has only been ever since April. So, I don't know exactly what you're doing, but prayer works. Okay, I can't stress that enough. Praying every day and being strategic in prayer works. Okay. I love when I talk about prayer, you want to make sure you're praying not only the spiritual warfare prayers, but also healing prayers, deliverance prayers. Okay. And then also a big piece, because my client I was just talking about, because she's growing, her spouse can see the growth in her, and that also brings restoration to the marriage, because he want to grow, he want to become better, you know. So prayer works, focusing on yourself, growing as a person, as an individual. All these things works, and there's other things she's doing as well, but she's getting results quickly. Because that was one of the things. Oh, my nose is so stuffed up, y'all. That was one of the things I was saying to the Lord, because when he called me to this stance last year, I knew nothing about a God ordained marriage. Okay, let me just say that I knew nothing about this. Okay, he threw me in this, but I did know how to pray strategically. I did know that, and as I was doing certain things, I was just moving a certain way. And then this year when God placed me here, I said, God, I said, I know I'm not the only one getting results like this. And it was fast results, okay? And sometimes when you only see yourself getting results, you probably just think, you might be God's favorite or whatever. But as I'm seeing my client get these same results and she getting them fast, I said, see, I know this stuff works. It works. She, as long as you do what I say, it will work, it will work. I'm gonna do a video on this. How do I enjoy this process? I'm gonna do a whole video on that. Can I give you some point? Yeah. Um, prayer. This is why I started the 90 days of prayer, because I wanted you all to see how I pray. You know, I really did. I wanted you all to see how I pray. I don't just pray, every blue moon. I pray every day, and then I'm not just praying the same thing. I'm praying whatever God showed me, right? So because I'm telling you, the way how you want to see, where is it at? You want to see more results in your God ordained love story, or even in your marriage restoration. Prayer, strategic prayer, that's one. Um, the love and respect, that's more so for the standards, okay? God ordained spouses, y'all can read it too, but standards will see more results with that when you read the book and apply what you just read to your marriage, okay? Another way how you see results, get out the kitchen. Get out the kitchen. That's when I start seeing my love story speed up. In April, I got out of the kitchen because I had took that mindset. I was like, I'm cutting him off in my mind, and I did it for 30 days, not knowing that God was about to move like never before in those 30 days. Okay. So staying out of the kitchen, strategic prayer, love and respect book. You need accountability. You need to build boundaries in this love story. You need standards. It's a lot of steps. Okay. It's a lot of steps. If I had to choose one, it's that prayer. It's prayer, strategic prayer. Yeah, I'm here, Jay. Blessing Bay. That could mean your spouse might just be watching you on Instagram. You said I'm about to do a video about me being Jonah, living in my car and not agreeing with his purpose for me. Why are you about to do a video on that? See, I can't see. It just say Facebook user, so I can't see who's saying this. You said maybe I need to fast again. Yeah. Oh, what that mean get out of the kitchen? I got a video on that. Get out the kitchen just mean, for me, it meant stop checking the social media pages, stop watching my God ordained spouse. Get out of the kitchen is when God places you and your spouse in a divine separation. So that means God is basically telling you stop, like get away from your prodigal, get away from this prodigal. Okay. So when God tells us to get away from the prodigal or put us in a divine separation, that literally means like don't even look at them, don't interact with them, don't answer their calls, don't respond to their text messages, like literally go, like go. Because you got to understand what that means. You know, they up under God's wrath. So God is trying to protect his believing spouse from the enemy, and he doesn't want his wrath to hit the believing spouse. So when God told me get out of the kitchen, get out of the kitchen, because I had left his presence, but I was still looking at his social media page. I was still looking at the Counterfeit page and what they were doing together, right? You know, what else was I doing? I think that was really it. So God kept telling me, get out of the kitchen, because the kitchen means, this is how God interpreted to me. When I go in the kitchen, I was showing up in controlling ways. I was trying to get the credit, right? I was the one trying to guide and lead and make sure my spouse on track, make sure he not going back to counterfeit. I was trying to do everything. And God was like, get out the kitchen, okay? I'm the one talking about God. He's like, I'm the one preparing this meal for you. This is my love story. You're not going to get the glory. God is going to get the glory. So he threw me out the kitchen. He's like, get out. And so I get out the kitchen. So when we go in the kitchen, God removes his hand. He stopped working. And he waits for us to get out of the kitchen. Okay. When you get out the kitchen, then God steps back in there. He started working. He bringing correction. He's changing heart. But when you step in there, he stopped. But I got a video on the channel that go more in depth. She said, I've been staying out the kitchen lately. Yeah. Hey, Janine. Thanks for supporting the book too, Janine. I saw yours come through. I like that. He said, my quote is break them to remake them. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. You gotta break it. Yep. Okay. Okay, Julie, let's talk about this. Julie said the counterfeit told my ordained spouse that she doesn't care who he's with. She would not stop trying to get him back because she loves him and she thinks they're meant to be together. So, if you know that you heard from God that this is your spouse, go ahead and take authority over this, because she probably do love him. She probably do believe that they're meant to be together. But you know what? It don't matter. What's going to stand is what God says. So if God told you that this is your spouse, go ahead and rebuke, bind this counterfeit spirit. Go ahead and destroy, call on your destroying angel, destroy every attachment, destroy every connection, every tie this woman, this counterfeit has with my God ordained spouse. Give her a new desire. Sometimes I used to pray. I used to pray and ask God, go ahead and send another man their way, the counterfeit's way. Go ahead and get them a distraction, okay? I used to pray so many crazy stuff, like go ahead, have them walk away from my spouse, have them act up, or change their heart, change their desire, but continue to pray against her, ask God to reveal to her what true love really is, open up her eyes, because when he opened up her eyes, then she might realize I don't really want this person right here. She might want somebody else. I believe they can feel our prayers. They probably don't know that it's our prayers that they're feeling. I wouldn't even say that they can feel that our prayers. I would say they know something is going on because it might be things happening in their lives and they don't understand it, right? So they can be sensing like something is going on. God isn't allowing me to have my way. I don't know if somebody praying for me, right? But keep praying. I know she said I hate divine separation. Yeah, I hated it in the beginning. I didn't understand it. Okay. You said God cooking something spicy. Let's see. Uh-huh. Yep. Okay, so let's talk about this. She said, when you start to see changes in your spouse, positive changes, if you interact, is this the kitchen? Will there ever be a part of restoration where there's nothing you can do to mess it up? So here's the thing. When God, because they will repent, right? And they can repent while they still up under God's wrath, right? And they could have repented for their sins, get back in right standing with God, but because of their disobedience, they still they still have to go through God's judgment. Okay, so somebody had asked me this question a couple of weeks ago, like if the question was if I know my spouse is sorry and regret how they responded to me, is it okay to take them back? No, because they can still be, like God probably not done. Okay, so let me go back to your question. So even if you see your positive changes, if God hasn't told you, okay, that it's time for communication to be open back up, it's not time. Okay. He's still working. He's still correcting because all we see is the positive changes, right? But you don't see what's going on in your spouse's heart. Okay. God sees it. And it goes back to how they were disobedient to the Lord because what you all are missing, the stuff you went through with your prodigal, you don't even know the stuff they was doing before you. If your prodigal rejected you, let's say your prodigal was doing witchcraft on you, let's say, they were just serving the devil. They was doing this before you too. So all of that, we could store up wrath. We could store all this stuff up. And so God is like, you up under my judgment now. So, and they got to go through it, okay? Because they've been doing this stuff. So God is like, I'm about to correct you. And he's corrected them. He's going to change their heart. He's going to heal them because we keep talking about purpose, right? God has a purpose for these God ordained marriages. And what I'm seeing, this is what I'm seeing with these marriages. For some of you all, your spouses, God is for the man, for the God ordained future husband. God has called a lot of these God ordained future husbands to speak to the next generation of men. Okay. So this is why we see a lot of prodigals. This is why it could seem like this divine separation is so long. This is why, it could seem like it's taking God so long to correct, change their heart, because God is like, I need my son right because you have a calling. You are called to change the next generation of men. So he got to send him back correct. He got to grow him to a certain level. He got to move him into healing, right? So even if you do see some positive changes, that still doesn't mean, open up communication. No, when God sends your spouse back to you, and God would he would communicate to you. He would let you know before they come back. That's the green light. He'll let you know way before they come back. Like, okay, y'all coming off divine separation. But if you're not getting these signals from God, these confirmations from God that he's about to send your spouse back, and y'all can start back talking, and you see these changes, and you still interact, you're going to end up hurting yourself, okay? Because you see a positive change. You might see a mindset corrected, but you don't see that heart change. So you can, you see how God corrected your spouse on how they responded to you in the past, but yet you looking at that, but then you still see your spouse with a counterfeit, and you back hurt. You see what I'm saying? So I hope that was clear. It's not enough just to see positive changes. It's not enough. You got to let God do a whole full circle on them, okay? Because I'll save it for another one. Because I can keep going on and on and on. That's true, Janine. She said, I believe wholeheartedly that when you watch their action, you actually distract yourself from God's purpose. Yes. And that's why, and that's what Sylvester was saying, you end up neglecting, areas of your life because we're so focused on them. And that's what God doesn't want. You're welcome. You're welcome. You sure can, Janine. She said you could pray them into the arms of God. You sure can. Yeah. I'm laughing at MCA comment. He said that's not what I meant. Okay. They're not. I'm glad you brought that up. She said the counterfeit needs to be delivered out of the wrong relationship as well. They are not always bad people, especially if they don't know they are a counterfeit. They're not. And that is why I'm gonna tell y'all what I did last year. Because it was a lot of counterfeits, and I think I did this because this is naturally how I am, and just my love for my spouse. I was just like, all right, if he's choosing this, if this is what he seemed to want, this was my mindset back then. They won't get this today, but I was like, if he's choosing this and this what he seems to want, okay, all right. Because I had some of them counterfeit. They would call me, they would inbox me, basically asking me how do I get your spouse. They was basically asking me this stuff, right? And I can see through people. Like I can be talking to you, and I can see your heart. I can see, what you're dealing with, how you're hurting inside. I can see these things. And for some of these counterfeits, I was like, they really like him. It was like an infatuation. I said, they really like him. I said, they don't love him. They don't even know him because I was teaching some of them about him. I was like, okay, this is, what he responds to. This, I'm teaching them this stuff, right? And what I'm getting at here is because I was like, what God was showing me, yes, they're counterfeits, but they're not bad women, Now there is one, she was a whole bold witch. Okay, I couldn't stand her, she was bad. But the other ones, they wasn't bad. They were just, women who were just infatuated with him, and some of those women, I was telling them, I was like, I told someone like, you're not his spouse, right? You know who I am, and they didn't care. But long story short, you're right, Rachel. They're not counterfeits. All counterfeits are not bad people. They're just in the wrong relationship, And like last year, I was like, okay, if this what you choosing, and the girl coming to me trying to get my advice on how to get you, I had gave some of them advice. I was like, go ahead. it's not gonna last. But go ahead and give it a try. That was my mindset, and they had to see for themselves. It didn't last. It didn't last. He had to see. Okay, I don't want that. You know, but I had already seen it. Like in the beginning. But I won't do that now. Mm-mm. That's right, Sylvester. Just put everything in prayer. Yeah, the Bible say pray without ceasing. So pray every day. Pray every day. Pray until you see your prayers answered. And then when you see your prayers answered, then go ahead and start praying for something else. Um, Randy said, my wife is strong willed and treats me like I don't exist. That's hurt and pain. That's something we teach ourselves how to do. Okay, that's attached to the spirit of rejection, abandonment, hurt and pain, right? So that's basically what's going on in your wife. Okay. Because I used to do that. I used to, I can, you could be sitting in front of me talking, I act like you don't exist. Okay. But that was because of a lot of hurt and pain from my past. Okay. You said 28 years married and this stands for 16 months. How is she going to be turned around? Toughest woman I know. Yeah. And sometimes, let me tell you something. Sometimes when we have on that little tough persona, it's just something. It's not really us. That's what we built to keep people, from taking advantage of us. I'll speak for myself. A lot of people say, "Oh, Taquila, you're a strong single mother." Well, I don't like being strong, but I have to be strong because when I'm like relaxed or whatever, people take my kindness for weakness, and so I don't want people to perceive me as weak. I have to appear tough and strong. So your wife, Randy, she just have a lot of hurt and pain in her heart. So I would target her heart in prayer. I would pray, Father, um, make her soft again, move her into her femininity. I will also pray and ask God to reveal to you the things your wife went through in her past that has caused her to operate now towards her husband like you don't exist. And also, like what's behind this tough woman spirit? What is behind it? Because that's something she built. That's not who she is. She just put that there so people won't take advantage of her. But I would target her heart in prayer and ask God heal her mother father wound, heal the wounds when she was taken advantage of, heal the wounds when she was abused, heal the wounds when she was rejected, overlooked, mistreated, abandoned. Heal those wounds in her heart. That's how I would be praying for her. And then another step, you want to know what is your wife. If you don't know this, you want to learn your wife's love language. Okay. When you learn her love language, um, and you begin to speak it, that wall she built, that toughness is going to come down. It's going to slowly start coming down because you speak in her language. I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Melissa. Okay. Um, I know YouTube be trying to, they spell my name like how the drink Tequila. Oh, you're welcome, Sylvester. Thank you. Nope. Okay, so Angelique said, what about being friends and hanging out with the opposite sex while waiting for your God ordained spouse? I won't do that. I just won't. You gotta know yourself. You gotta know, you gotta really know yourself inside and out. I don't believe I already know I have one male friend and he's married. I ain't no fool though. Married or not, I ain't no fool. If the opportunity presented itself, he's going to take advantage of it. I'm no fool, So because I know this, and then I also know I don't want to put myself, in a situation where I may be vulnerable, even though I'm around friends, I don't want to put myself in these situations where I can create soul ties or even children, with these individuals, while I'm waiting on my God ordained spouse. So I just don't, I just don't hang out with the opposite sex. I'll talk to you on the phone, but as far as going out or you coming over my house or I'm going to your house, I'm not going to do it. Nope. What signs? Okay, let's see. What signs will God give when it's time for communication to open up? So, however way God speaks to you, He can show you in a dream your God ordained spouse calling you. He could show you in a dream. He's going to communicate to you in ways like in your everyday language. Okay, so He can give you. I can only speak for myself. He speaks to me through dreams. When it comes down to these communication, I only have them in dreams. I don't listen to these prophetic voices on YouTube and they be saying, "Oh, your God ordained spouse is about to call you." I don't listen to them. I'm like, God, show me this in a dream, because I need to hear it directly from Him. I don't want to hear from them other ones, but He could show you in a dream. He could show you in a vision. It just have a way how God speaks to you. He's going to speak to you in a language, in a way that you understand. Like that was God. I got that message. Okay. So, and it could be prophetic words. I just choose not to listen to these people on YouTube. Because I was listening to them all last year, getting all excited. And I'm like, that's not even my word. And then some of that stuff wouldn't even come to pass. I was like, no. Mm-mm. I am having a great day. Thank you. Yeah. Yep. So, all right, y'all. 2 hours and 31 minutes. Listen, what you laughing at, Sylvester? I did not plan on being on here this long, but I had a great time with you all. Yeah. And Aaron sent you all's questions. Listen, if you haven't already, go make sure you order your copy, pre-order God Ordained Marriage book. I'm about to say .com. Pre-order the book, God Ordained Marriage. Thank you, Bebo, for the super sticker. I appreciate you. New record. I'm not trying to break no record, okay? No, 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 no. I am talking about the YouTube profit. And you know what? And I'm not speaking against them. It just I always been this way though. Like even when it come down to like deciding on a church I go to, I don't just go. I don't do all that hopping from church to church. I don't do that. Mm-mm. The one church I joined, I watched my pastor back then for a whole year. Listen to him. I made sure I was like, okay, I could resonate with this pastor. Then I joined. I don't play around with all that other stuff. When is your next live Q&A? I don't know. When I come back on, I might. What is today? Saturday. It'll be sometime next week. It'll be sometime next week. Thank you, MCA. Yeah, but I don't have no problems with these prophets on YouTube. I just certain messages. I go to God and say, God, I need you to confirm that one in a dream to me. I ask God, like, can you give me that in a dream so I know it came from you, and He will, and He will. How long have I been saved? Ever since 2011. Yep. Now here's the thing: I've been saved ever since 2011, but I started having my own very first personal encounters with God in 2018. That's when I started learning, God for myself. So, yeah, thank you all. All right, so I'm about to go ahead and enjoy the rest of my night. Miss Miracle is asleep. I've been waiting on her little butt to go to sleep, y'all. She like my little shadow. Woo! But oh yeah. MCA said, I'm so glad. He said, I'm so glad you support man's sign in the God ordained love story because it's rare for Christian YouTubers to talk about the man's side. Yeah. And you know what? I'm gonna say this as I'm logging on. Um, because God prepared me to be able to talk about the man's side. He prepared me for this conversation when I was mentoring the single mothers because I was dealing with absent fathers, deadbeat dads, and he had given me that revelation back then. I just didn't know at that time what God was showing me, it was for today. I just didn't know that. Okay, I was applying everything to them absent fathers and deadbeat dads or whatever, but He was giving me that wisdom back then for today. So, um, yeah. So I kind of, I just brought it here with the revelation. But all right, everyone have a great night. I'm not coming on tomorrow. I'm gonna rest tomorrow. I'm getting all my rest in, and then sometime next week I'll go back live again for another Q&A. So have your questions ready for next. I'm about to say next year for next week. And have a good night. Talk to y'all later. Good night.